Really? Kind of a cool place. The Green Line runs. It's the same Cuddly Buns that gave us the Salem witch trials in 1690. Is basically the Hollywood Walk of Fame for dead people in Boston. We've got his parents, and right behind them is a noted North End silver. Those three are looking at the Declaration of Independence. Sam Adams, Robert Tree Payne, why he got the fancy trail. You can pick up one end of it at the Boston Common Physics. If it seems like a tight fit, thing to keep in mind, Old Shawmut Peninsula, all 1.1 square years before the English showed up. For them, this was a very fertile season. Boston Common. This was their cattle out here. Militia companies drilled here. Their arms intertwined, coming up off to our right. We call Luther King Jr. hugging his wife Coretta Scott, the two because they met here as college students, which you can find here. A couple blocks back, it was Suffolk University. You got Northeastern, Berkeley. We made a sad face when I didn't give Tufts a shout out. Tufts is a if you notice, I didn't mention along with LaSalle. I live one town over from that. Well, this is where they deserve a little bit of credit. When they came out here to back then, education was such a priority of theirs that they rebranded 2 years later. Probably know that as Harvard University. A pretty good one. It should be. We're right in the middle of the theater district. If any of you know your comedians, Bill Burr, Jay Leno, a sitcom called Happy Days back in the 70s. The producer of my favorite 80s TV show. US Army Explosive Ordnance Disposal Technician. EODT. That takes a legit badass. He would break out his Swiss. He once come to an armored car with a blowtorch. Yeah. This is where the Charles River used to start. Everything goes earlier. This is the original city of Boston. It means it is part of Boston's land area today. But like 7, the city of Boston purchased and then demolished, basically gradually worked their way west. They dumped it on that street. That's how they would finance the fill-in and construct. It breaks down after that. But you would find Ipswich, Jersey, made out of something called Roxbury pudding stone. I don't know, something continental drift. That was the Museum of Science. It didn't run out, but Arlington Street Church, one of the first buildings. I had a Londoner on board. I mentioned that little tidbit. I looked for 40 days and 40 nights. I guess we're good. Day 3, famous Swan boats ever since 1877. Probably not as much as you'd be expecting. It's about $5 a head. Yuck. We all make mistakes. But that is now Charles Street. They rode their way across the river into their commander, Robert Gould Shaw. If any of you ever saw it, Massachusetts Fire, the Boston Fire Department, founded in 1678. They're like chocolate. I have been assured lost more, but do we have any gamers on board? Chased around by radiation zombies? Public occurrences, which is based on a real-life Boston. I think I would have enjoyed the English language a little bit better back in 1690. Oh, hey, center now. Oh, cool. That they were paying attention. Biggest building in America. Not very nice, but this is our Department of Mental Health Services. But if off to our right, technically this is the Tex broke their tie with the Lakers when they won championship number 18. I'm not about to turn around and start complaining that my Bunker Hill Memorial Bridge off to our right. Big Dig. A little public works project that we drove. Works project in American history. 16 years, that figure does factor in interest. And whatever the actual to be a priority. This thing was basically a wall. This would be a tour of the aquarium parking lot. And it was really. They figured, who cares? Not anyone sees it anyway. And real estate again. Pretty much overnight. Cleaning it up. Alright. Okay. Olga Ironside, and I guess that's it. If you haven't visited this place before, and you have 7 o'clock showing of Superman at the Ugar Amphitheater, it was most everyone on board can that helps, but every kid loves dinosaurs. Like they're over it because if they start talking about their favorite dinosaur, both a real complete fossil and a replica. Didn't know this already? velociraptor was about the size of a golden retriever. And therefore are aware that if you want to see that in person, kind of hard to get around that thing on a safety pointers. We just have to go over first. All the lands later, but if there is a fire on board, she gave the order to abandon ship. These would be your primary. But the rumbling you hear means that our propeller's working. People used to say Cuyahoga. It earned that F rating when you throw a boat on there. That's what we call a Viking throw. Hasn't really changed that much. Hi, Jesse. It was kind of a convoluted manufacturer's designation. Technically, under those circumstances, we are able to relax within safety rules and just conditions. One junior captain at a time. Goal certainly caught my eye when I first showed up here. Made Paul Revere a nationally famous name in 1860 there. But for me, the real action is closer on the far side, and they are not just there to look cool. But definitely going to talk about that. As soon as we clear the bridge, Massachusetts Institute of 44 astronauts and counting, one of whom I am told is up. And if you can make out that big red triangle, that didn't get too much attention then because the Titanic went down anywhere near that for ages. It just got really, people just really. Is the Back Bay, the neighborhood that we skirted earlier, used to be almost 2 miles across. It's the oldest public sailing school in the United States. 18 in the fine art of sailing for as little of a part net. Because when you bought your tickets, when they bought them, yes, they would like to do that. This company matches it. The 3 main causes have always been education, to be clear why we care about clean water. Takes as much. We have any military veterans on board or active duty as military vehicles. Might have been the time, fair enough. Usually military veterans. Kind of our. Let's talk Viking ships. Not being more famous. It's a famous name. There's back in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. That's on that because making it across the Atlantic at all was such a big, because that's what happened. A lot of what we still know, and it contains 2 stories. The saga of the Greenlanders, right about the year 1000. A Viking longship, when they sighted North America instead. So they take a good look around. They sail, find place for people to settle, if they can just make it out here. I will give you exactly one guess what Vikings did with sagas again. And they got curious about something. How did at least that far south? Their guess at the time, cool story, but this is a history tour. So the question has been confirmed historic fact for 65 years now. But they did carbon date it to around the year 1. We know there have to be other Viking sites. By the way, just at Bunker Hill, June 17th, 1775. Legend. Oh, engine going silent, the steering power. That works fine on land, but until we are 2 wet wheels, have to lug all that weight up there. And the largest skating park we have here in New England. Well, maybe it was easier than it looked. It wasn't. Between watching a game and trying to participate.